Are you the type of player that hands your GM this as your backstory? Tens of hundreds of pages, complete novel of what your character's done before level 1 that your GM will have to look through. Beautiful writing that your GM will cherish forever. Remember every little detail. I'm sorry. You hand this to me? This is what I actually will need. It is great that you are passionate about your character, that you love everything about them. But there's really a lot of things that are unimportant, or things that could even get in the way and hurt you about your character that you could put into some of these backstories. There's only 3 things that every good backstory needs that will cover everything that you need to springboard into your novel, which will be your campaign, where your adventurer decides to go from there to grow and explore. So, what are these 3 crucial ingredients that you need for your tabletop game and characters? Let's dive into them, shall we? Number 1, know where they come from. Obviously, the most important thing to shaping who your character is where did they originally come from. So, deciding whether they grow up in an urban or a rural environment can change a lot of the priorities of what they possibly learned. Did they learn more of a crafting skill, or were they someone that grew up on a farm? Are they someone that comes from a big family so that, they know how to push forward and try to get attention or try to get food, or so they can be more pushy as part of a big group? Or were they a more spoiled single child? These are crucial things about where your character grew up and how they were raised. Whether they had their parents around, whether they were in a foster home, any kinds of things about that. Pick a few things about where they came from. This is a beautiful thing that you can come up with on your own, or there are many GMs where you can come up to and say, hey, I have an idea for someone who lives in a major metropolis. Where are some of the major points that either you can ask, where is the campaign starting? And if it's starting in a big city like many do, it can be a perfect place to get yourself right into the campaign easily, helping out yourself and the GM to make that transition smooth. Or you can ask them, I feel like, a cozy village or, a small cottage by a river somewhere. Where's a good river, that could come by? And some GMs, depending on their style, they might not have anything like that. A small cozy hamlet that's by a river. You can tell them sometimes what that is. Work with your GMs. Part of your backstory is allowing your character to fit into the world. Make sure that they have a place in the world that they fit. Where they grew up can be a great place to help anchor yourself into this world. And before even session 1 starts, make sure that you have a place and something in the world that you can relate to and hold on to. The second thing required in a great backstory is a life-changing event. Now, many of you will know the classic life-changing events that happen, that spur people on a lot of times. You will find in, many Disney films and stuff that parents have no business being here, or an uncle, or things like that. These horrific, tragic things. And because that cuts a lot of their ties to the previous stuff, it can be a great thing that spurs them on to be an adventurer. And that is why it's a classic. It's something that a lot of players use, and it works very well many times to get them kicked in the butt, so to speak, and out the door to go adventuring. It doesn't always have to be so tragic, though. It could be a more inspiring event that changed the way they look at life. They could have, always just seen, stage performers on stage and, scoffed at them that, that's magic, that's nothing, until something came and threatened their village, and someone who really did know magic, a high-level mage, came through and blasted the creature, and their mind was blown at the possibilities of magic. Or if you're in a more sci-fi kind of place, they were able to they were bullied a lot in school, and so they were able to start hacking, and just one day their hacking abilities got them noticed. And it opened up doors into a whole new sector of it. Anything that changes a lot and gives them a way to break free of what they were doing and move on into something else. Again, make sure that it's not something that is so incredible. They went out and murdered an angel and took the avenging blade and went down and faced the demon gods of... You're level 1. Unless you're starting at a higher level and your GM wants you to go crazy and you're doing a 20th level one-shot, okay, sure, have fun with it. But this is for level 1 characters. You haven't done that much yet to be recognized. Maybe you've done some small things to be recognized locally. You could have, helped out and, saved the livestock of a local farmer. Okay, sure, that's a, level 1 thing, and that has, burgeoned into another thing and changed your life, at least locally, that people recognize you. It's amazing. But keep it measured, and make sure that it is a springboard that usually will make sense with part 3 of making an amazing backstory, is give them a motivation. This is something that, what is it they want? If you tie this to the life-changing event like we were talking about before, it can just wrap everything into a nice, beautiful little bow and just be perfect. So, if we go with our examples of, dead parents, it's easy to go, okay, they're looking for revenge. Or they are now, some devout protector that wants to make sure that happens to nobody else ever. It's adventuring games. Usually bad things will happen. You can't stop all of it. But that can be one of their noble goals to do. Or this elite hacker now wants to always push forward and hack into, depending on whether they're more good or aligned, or stop the corrupt government, or hack into, financial institutions and, completely mess with everything there. There's so many different ways that you could possibly tie these things together, which is real nice. They don't always have to directly tie into each other. Your life-changing event could have been something that spurred you into another step that then also realized this motivation. But give your character a clear motivation, because the more motivated your character is, the easier it'll be for you to improvise in the moment of when something completely weird happens. It's tabletop. Something weird will happen you did not expect. As player, GM, whoever, somebody's going to suddenly pick up the grenade and pull the pin and be like, oh no. And you have to figure out in the moment, what would your character do in a split second? Are they the protector that will try and shield the rest of the party? Or are they the coward that's going to be like, well, time to leave. At least get out of that blast radius. There's many different ways you can use this to think in a split second. The easiest thing that you can almost have any character be motivated by, and it'll work for almost any campaign, is money, wealth. This will typically, in almost any system, any RPG that you play, there will be a flow of money, commerce of some way. If that is one of their primary motivations, it may be shallow, but it works. A beautiful thing about your starting motivations as well is sometimes you can also grow with them and realize, well, if your character gets what they want, are they really going to be happy? Is this actually what they want? And hopefully, throughout the course of the campaign, you'll have a more clear goal of what the story is, and you can move and transition that motivation into something that ties more closely to the story. But yeah, give them a motivation. Money, wealth, some noble, just causing chaos. Though do beware of purely causing chaos as your motivation. Your other players may not appreciate that, so make sure you talk to some of them before you pull something like that. Make sure that it's the kind of goofball session that can work. But just make it clear. It's something that you and the GM both know that you can make sure this is an adventurer. This is somebody that will go on these types of adventures to ensure that their motivations are met, along with whatever else it helps the party with. So, the 3 things you need to make sure you have the best backstory. Number 1, know where they come from. Number 2, give them any life-changing moment. And number 3, make sure they have a motivation. If you have those 3 basic things, you can fluff it out with all the details that you want. And, write your 100-page essay here. Yes, I see. Oh, yes, this is very fascinating. But let your GM know those 3 core things. Easy, upfront, even just a few bullet points that I've done for some of my GMs as I've learned and grown as a player. And it'll just be so much easier, so much nicer for all of you to get what you want out of the game. And the Game Master will have such an easier time making sure that you get it as well. I hope this was informative and helped you to understand more of what you need to put into your characters before you even get started in this game. Don't let this intimidate you that these need to be, the most original, the longest, huge stories that you can create. Have fun with it. That's what these are. These are games. Have fun with it, and the rest of the party should have fun along with you. Invite them in and enjoy the game together, bringing all of your motivations, backstories, mixing together. You can create this wonderful game that we call Tabletop RPGs, telling a story together. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. As always, everyone, remember to be awesome. The next one, bye-bye.